Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we've got some player props here on Monday to kick off the work week with you guys. 8 games on the slate here in the NBA. And we'll be going through the player props in this one. Got best bets with some sides and totals looks in the other episode for you guys. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Continue to follow along with us all season. Nate, let's go ahead and get right into that first player prop. Another 2-2 night there. Feeling pretty good about what we've got here on the slate so far. Some injury reports that we need to work through for sure. But let's go ahead and get into your first play here.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes under 20.5 points. It's 19.5 most places, but 20 at MGM. And I was thinking about adding the assists here, but both the assists and rebounds have a little bit of variance to them. The 21 points just seems like pretty unlikely when you consider the situation. It's a back-to-back for the Raptors. They hopefully have him active because then this becomes exploitable because they've had Scotty and RJ active, and then as soon as things start to get competitive in the second half, they will yank them unless they're playing a really good team. And so that's why it's inflated a little bit because they're playing the Warriors. They're able to stay close, give Scotty his full amount of run on Friday, and he gets over. Then he gets over yesterday as well. But now you got IQ back in the lineup. That definitely leads to a drop in usage and assists per game, which is why I was looking at that. But, more importantly, they're playing Washington. And there were 2 against Washington earlier this month where Scotty averaged 11 minutes per game in the second half. So you play in less than half of the second half in close games. One of them was a 1-point game. So he totaled 19 points and assists per game in those, averaged 26 minutes for the game, only got 5.5 points in the second half, low usage. There were a lot of potential assists, but the assists did not come home. Part of that's because Toronto's thrown out kind of a tanking lineup around him. There's no Grady Dick here. There's other guys might, again, play limited minutes. You look at another tanking matchup recently. He had 20 almost at halftime against Utah, right? And then he plays 9 minutes in the second half because they want to ensure that they lose those games. Also on back-to-backs, only 29 minutes per game, only 23 PRA. For Scotty, his last 2 back-to-backs with the Raptors in this full pull-the-plug mode. So I'm just trying to exploit that situation. I also like the Wiz to win because I think the Raptors will do what they can to make it look like they were throwing guys out there on a back-to-back and then pull the rug out.
Yeah, classic. Yep. Yeah, you got to find these right spots. This is a great spot for sure to ensure the loss. So let me go to that Dallas-Brooklyn game, get to PJ Washington again. I still love the under assist for him, under 2.5. I'm going to play 1.5 units on that to get a full unit back. It's minus 150 or so on most of these books. But like I said, I'm going to play that to get a full unit back. And then I also like the over on the points and probably parlay those a little bit together because you get a really good little 4-1 or so if you go over on the points, under on the dimes there and push them together there. But yeah, look, he had 1 potential assist in the last game. He had 0 in the prior 2 and 2 in the prior game to that. So in the last 4 games, he has 3 potential assists in 4 games. So I think we know what he is and is not trying to do. He's also got the highest usage percentage on the team. He's also got the most shots taken per game. It all makes sense, right? In the last game, I tried to go with the rebounds instead of the points. And I thought it was a great matchup. He had 9 rebound chances on that one. I don't think I should be super scared in this game. I do like a PJ Washington type against the Nets, which is they're going to play a feisty, smaller from the standpoint that Nick Claxton's slightly undersized, but everybody on the floor is actually a little bit big for their position outside of D'Lo. So it's a really good matchup for guys like PJ Washington or a John Collins or someone like that who can shoot from the corners and the outside, but is also a very good rebounder, is not going to get taken off the floor in situations where maybe they go small. And obviously PJ, this is also just predicated on him never coming off the floor. And it's not like it's based on tanking or not tanking. It's that they don't have the requisite amount of players to play without giving PJ that amount of time. They're playing an 8-man rotation, sometimes 9, depending on if they do sit or not, a Clay or a Brandon Williams or a Spencer Dinwiddie, right? Or Jaden Hardy, even, who has come back from injury. So they're running out of guys. They have to play PJ that much. And that's a big part of this and why he's been going up over this consistently, basically for the last 5 games or 4 games since he came back from that injury and has been playing full minutes and hasn't really been seeing anything less than 35 or so. So against the Nets, I can't say that the Mavs are tanking or not. Like AD is going to come back. They want to play their guys when they're healthy. They're just going to keep going with the season. We're sort of blind of the standings. So I think they're going to keep, like I said, playing those guys normal minutes, keep giving PJ the ball. And then for Brooklyn, like D'Lo's questionable. It's just another sort of just throwaway game for them that I don't think they trust the Mavs to be good enough to play all their players because you got Cam Thomas out, etc. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to not see D'Lo out there. And then this game probably flies under, and maybe I take an under on the Nets team total as well. But I think that'll all just help PJ like stay out on the floor no matter what. So love him on the under on the dimes and over on the points here.
Oh, the Mavs are playing defense now. You think under? I mean, the thought of Anthony Davis coming back would inspire them to protect the rim, because I mean, I would not touch that no matter how shorthanded the Nets are. I think there'll be points in this game. I see you're adjusting because you had the under and the over rebounds for PJ on Friday, and he soars over on points. Still doesn't do any boarding up though. No dimes, no boards for PJ. He is just a scorer at this point per what you're saying. And that's part of the reason I like Najee Marshall to get rebounds here as you look at sort of their advanced data. But I'll take that points as well with Najee, 24.5 points and rebounds. I mean, you look in the 3 since PJ came back, Najee's grabbed 9.3 of 11 rebound chances per game. And sometimes that's like a cause for concern, like, oh, that's getting lucky. But I mean, I think it's also by design to a degree. And it also shows that PJ is not really, he's boxing out and not necessarily going after these. He's only at 49%. Najee's 85% rate is the best in the league among anyone with 30 minutes per game in the last 3. So it is in some ways an outlier, but also indicates, his effort level. We're looking at a Nets team that, you said under. I think some of that is possible because they're allowing the second most defensive rebounds in their last 6 with some horrible shooting. On the other side, since the All-Star break, they allow the 3rd highest free throw rate. And Najee getting a lot of his points by just being aggressive, right? I mean, he hasn't been hitting anything from 3, and he's still averaging 20 in his last 3. He's averaging 22 in his last 10. Some of those without PJ, but still getting 6 free throw attempts per game, basically 12 and a half drives is right there with the team lead, playing 37 minutes. Just again, the Mavs shorthanded on the wing. They're going to go with him here. You look at the 10-game sample, he hasn't shot well from deep that entire time. But the Nets, they do a pretty good job on the perimeter anyway. They're going to force you to get on the interior, muck it up, get to the line. I think Najee will do that enough so that he gets to this 16 to 20 point range. And then the boards are only at 6.5. So if you do want to just look at that data and be like, I trust that to continue, then I think that is your better isolated bet. But I also think he's just going to be scoring enough here for the Mavs because they don't have many other options. And his usage rate has been quite high here in the post Kyrie era.
Yeah, I'm going to keep buying into it as well. So I'm with you on Najee, but yeah, no issues with that one. I'm just going to close it out here and get to my last one in the back in that Lakers game there. I'm going to go with the King. I'm going to take over on LeBron here. It might seem scary for a couple of reasons, but I mean, I think he's going to be back to full minutes. They just got housed by the Bulls. Very embarrassing. Gave up a $146 in that one, lost by 31 points. So I'm expecting the bounce back. That was his first game back from the roughly like couple weeks that he was missing there. Going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. This number is just too low. I think the books are overcompensating for Orlando's defense being a stopper that we think of, and potentially like LeBron's poor performance in the last one, worried that Luka cuts into what he's doing. All of that to me is just overblown though at this point. Like Orlando, not the Orlando that you think that they are. Like they're not the best on defense anymore by any means. At this point in the season, they're 11th in defensive rating in their last 10. Like I'm not poo-pooing their defense, but they play at a super slow pace and play really choppy defense, which has helped them look a little bit better. But the one-on-one defense, especially around above the break, moving in, even at the rim, like this is not the same team. You've got Wendell Carter Jr. as your main stopper down low. Like Goga's really been phased out, and you get some Jonathan Isaac in there. But like LeBron's not going to encounter much, resistance when he's going to the rim, and he is going to have the above the break 3 available if he wants it as well. Orlando on the season now. I mean, as far as above the break defense goes, we know that's where they've been vulnerable. They're 20th rather in terms of the threes that they're giving above the break. That's continued in the last 10 games as well. So like nothing's changed advantage there. And this Lake Show's team continuing to just pummel the rim when LeBron is out there. They went in the games that they missed with LeBron, they were dropped down to 22nd in rim frequency. The games that they have LeBron, they've been in 13th in rim frequency. So there was really nobody attacking the rim for them, especially without like an offensive center like AD anymore. It's LeBron's job really to get buckets down low off of things like the defense collapsing on Luka and then him being up top to get that ball, because it's been a lot of Luka out on the wing, LeBron at the top of the key, and then him doing work from there. So I love that for him to continue to be able to score. And this is just too low. Like I said, like 41.5 PRA per game with Luka over in the 9 of the 12 games that they played. And the 3 unders, pretty explainable, fewer minutes, the Bulls blowout, etc. So like, once again, I just think that this is something that should be at about 38, 39.5 at least. And most of the season, it's been 39.5 to 40.5 for LeBron on the PRA. So this low number is just a good spot for me that I'm going to try to find and exploit here.
Yeah, if you're feeling like his poor performance was not like easing him back to health, and it was more just like an outlier, a little rust, I mean, then certainly you're getting value, because you got to go back to early January for him to go under in consecutive games against this number, or like even close, really. I mean, yeah, even on the points, 22.5, I don't see back. Right. I see one back-to-back under that. And it just hasn't really happened since Luka came to town and he was reinvigorated to just, be like, all right, let's go. And clearly this is a gut check spot for the Lakers as they start their road trip, trying to maintain their position here. So big game, like LeBron and of course Fraulo to do some stuff on the other side if you want to get a little SGP going.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a low total for sure. So it can always be scary. But when I saw LeBron's props, each one of them was like a point or two lower than where I thought the line should be. So I was like, well, let's put them all together then, because I think that the points are definitely obtainable here. But that is all the time we have for you in Player Props. Want to make sure to subscribe to that channel. Continue to follow along with us all season. Make sure you check out the best bets we have up today as well. And until we see you next, happy betting.